Hi, welcome to our last level 1 chance and data video on time series. The time series graph is basically a line graph that displays the change in a quantity over a given period of time. So let's get straight into example 1. We're going to use the following data to draw a time series graph. Right, on the bottom we put time. In this example we're going from March 1992 through to September of 1995. And on the y-axis we're putting the food index. This is like a scale of the cost of food. We also have a title which I've hidden underneath my table. Right, can you see that in March 1992 it cost 100 points? Think of it like going to Pack and Save and buying some groceries that cost $100. If you come back in June of 1992, June, you'll pay for the same groceries, only cost you $98. Then if you come back in September and buy the same groceries, it'll cost you $102, and so on, and so on, and so on. So that's basically how we read these graphs. Now in time series, we have 4 key features we're going to talk about in this video. Let's get started. The trend. The trend is the overall pattern or the change happening during the time interval. It could be increasing, decreasing, or a stationary trend. Now, in the example we've just talked about, the food index between March of 92 and September of 95, the food index is gradually increasing. It's not a huge steep curve, but it is gradually going up. So the price of food is getting more expensive. Right, here's 2 more examples to look at. The one on the left is the marriage and divorce rates in New Zealand between 91 and 2003. And you can see that we have a decreasing marriage rate trend and an increasing divorce rate trend. And the graph on the right is the number of people who die from lung disease in the UK from 1974 to 77 over those 4 years, and you can see that it is basically a stationary trend. All right, here's the second thing, repeating pattern or seasonal trend. A lot of time series graphs show a repeating pattern. This is often due to a cycle, e.g. seasons or business calendars, etc. Your job is to try to identify any repeating patterns and discuss what you think they could mean. So in this food index example, once again, there is a repeating pattern. Have you noticed every December the price of food goes up a bit? Why? Because in New Zealand, in December, it's Christmas time, so the shops put the prices up because people like to buy food. Here's 2 more examples. On the bottom left is the electricity production in Australia between 1956 through to 1963. And have you noticed every September we peak with our electricity production? Now, September actually represents the last 3 months up to September. So that's the winter months in Australia. That's why the electricity production goes up during that quarter. On the right-hand side, we've seen that graph before, the lung disease deaths in the UK. Have you noticed that every January, the number of lung deaths peak or is a pattern of going up? In the UK in January, it's summertime, and the number of lung disease deaths increases over summer because people suffer from the heat. All right, let's talk about noise. Any random fluctuations in the quantity that are not due to repeating patterns is just called noise. So going back to this marriage and divorce rates, you can see in the middle here, we can see some fluctuation going up and down in the marriage rate, but it's not part of a repeating pattern. It's just noise. It's unpredictable factors. Some years we have more marriages and other years we will have less marriages. The final feature is called a spike. This is a major fluctuation in the quantity that's not part of a repeating pattern. And you can see 2 spikes, both in the marriage and the divorce rates, and these are likely to be influenced by an outside factor. In both of these examples, they were both celebrity marriages and celebrity divorces that suddenly everybody in New Zealand thought it's okay to go and get married, or I want to get married, or I want to get divorced, and so on. Right, well that's time series, and that's our chance and data videos over with. So best of luck, and thank you so much for tuning in.